Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to today's session. I'm Lena. I'm here from Riga Tech Girls. I can see that there's more people joining us in Zoom. As I mentioned before, feel free to join us here in the session in Zoom, or you're more than welcome to also.
Tu pazudī? Tev skaņas nav.
Thanks, Jan. While I was muting everyone else, I muted myself as well. Thank God we have Jans here who's going to share more about technologies and what it's like to successfully work in there. So yeah, welcome everyone. I think there's quite a lot of you in here in Zoom. As I mentioned before, you're welcome to join in Zoom, and you're also welcome to connect via the live stream link. It's in Facebook and it's in YouTube. As always, these sessions are meant for you. They're meant for you to understand what are the opportunities in IT, what are the opportunities in various IT companies. Today we have Mikrotik, which is a wonderful experience because we have never had them before in any of our sessions. So we're very glad that you're here. We're very, very happy to hear more about what does the company do, what are the options, what are the vacancies, what are the different professions that you actually represent, and potentially for any of the candidates who go out of our programs and who finish any of the programs that we've run or any of the coding bootcamps, I think this is a great opportunity to understand what are one of the places where you could go and work for. And I think Mikrotik is a great option here. But without further ado, I'm going to give the floor to Jānis Meģis, who is our representative from Mikrotik. And I just wanted to remind you that feel free to ask any questions. The session is with a goal to help you in any way and to help you understand about the opportunities. So yeah, feel free to ask anything that you feel like you need to know more. And feel free to do it whether you're watching it in YouTube and Facebook or whether you're in here in Zoom. I'll be checking it throughout, and I'll be helping to answer any questions and asking them to Jānis afterwards. So Jānis, I'm giving the floor to you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So thank you for joining this meeting. So each agreement has two parts. Mikrotik also are very interested in this situation because we are always looking for new people and trying to fill all the spots that we have here in workplace. And if you log into our page where there's a list of available vacancies, you can see that there's always something in there. We don't have a moment where it's empty. At least I don't remember for last 3 years that we had even a single moment when we were not looking for more people. So Mikrotik is quite unique company for this region. There's not many companies in here in the Baltic region that does what we do. So my presentation will be divided basically in 3 big parts. So the first part will be the presentation. It's partially marketing presentation, partially introduction, so that you can understand what Mikrotik is, because not everyone realize that what Mikrotik does. And then we will talk about the second part, about the possibilities and what kind of people are we looking for. And maybe some of those spots are meant for you and you want to try out. So, and the third part, of course, as already mentioned, will be the discussion, the questions. So I'm not allowed to go really deeply in all the questions. So some of things will be company secret. So I reserve a possibility to reply that I can't answer. But I think we are quite open, and most questions I will be able to answer. So just start on the positive note. So this presentation comes in a really interesting time. Yesterday was Mikrotik birthday. We are now 27 years old. So yeah. So let's start with company profile. So we are manufacturer of the router software. So we started to make our own software first. Basically, it's a Linux kernel that is stripped of all the unnecessary multimedia stuff, and only networking stuff is left behind. And we basically write modules for a particular Linux kernel. We write in C++, so that's one of our big departments that we're looking people to add. So both junior and senior developers that basically write the code for the networking operating system that's based on a Linux kernel. And only then we realized that it's much more proficient to make our own hardware for that software. So all the Mikrotik hardware comes with the Mikrotik software on it that we program ourselves. Our software has one very interesting, not typical thing for the industry. Usually, if you take some big industry players, if you want one feature, you need to buy one module. If you need another feature, you need another module. And if you want a bigger count of some kind of feature, you need to buy another license level for something like that. So, and every possibility you get a money grab. In Mikrotik, we basically give customers everything. Doesn't matter what hardware they buy. If they buy a cheap home router or they buy a very powerful, large-scale business router, both have exactly the same features. Of course, the performance is different, but all the features are there. So that's why our products are very popular, used by internet service providers, businesses, and usually also individual users that have a knowledge, mostly from the work, if they work as an internet service provider or some administrator somewhere. So it's not like we are complicated, simply we are overwhelming with all the features that are available in our operating system, because we allow to use everything that we offer. Basically, if you have head on your shoulders and knowledge about networking, you can do practically anything in networking with our equipment. So our goal is to make internet technologies faster, more powerful, and accessible to a wider range of users. So where are we located? So as I told you, we are 27 years old, so founded in 1996, started with the routing software in 97. The first equipment came in 2002. I personally joined Mikrotik in 2004, so more than 18 years ago. We had more than 300 people in 2019 already. Number has grown, but we are not disclosing how much. We are the largest manufacturer in Latvia, according to all the data collection and so on. And we are not producing routers ourselves. We are developing them. We have a small production set here in the office. So to make like 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 units, not the mass production units. So we have a contracts with the factories in Latvia, Lithuania, China, and Vietnam. So in the picture, you can see that we recently, 5 years ago, moved into the old VEF building, which is like old Latvian Silicon Valley department. So keeping the traditions that electronics are developed in that location. So here is one of our partners. So we help to make additional jobs. So for example, Hansa Matrix factory has 100 employees in Ogre and Ventspils, and Mikrotik orders make up on average 37% of the company's turnover. So basically, our research showed that each employee in exporting company creates 3 additional jobs. So in 2021, so end of the COVID, there was a big time for LTE devices, because in COVID time, everyone suddenly started to work from home, and it corresponded with our ability to ship home LTE devices, antennas like you see in this picture, and also simple home routers that you put on your desk. And that helped us to get our largest sales volume in our history. You can see numbers there, historical profits and biggest turnover. And 95% of turnover is direct export. So we are basically exporting out of Latvia and not so much in Latvia. That's why it's very common that we are not known in Latvia here. So we are trying to keep highest wages in industry so that we don't lose people, because we are so specific as a company that the knowledge that you accumulate while working here is unique. And it basically, if the specialist with, I don't know, 8 years of experience leaves us, we can get another specialist of that level only in 4 or 5 years, because we need to teach all the knowledge from the beginning. So there is like really heavy, there is not so much repetitive work here in Mikrotik, but big brain work, because you need to accumulate lots of new information. As you know, that IT industry really changes a lot. Every time there's a new protocols. For example, one of the latest was the 5G implementation, because our guys needed to learn everything that there is about 5G. There is new protocols coming out that we need to know before we actually plan to make any equipment with that technology. So there's always learning, always reading RFCs and other documents. So there's constant influx of information just to keep up with the things. So we are here in a renovating part of WEF historical building. It's Brīvības gatve 2014I. That building is really big. It's like I don't know, 800 meters long. We just had 1/3 renovated, but we have places to expand. But the renovated part basically is a building inside the building, because you cannot touch the historical part. So we had to build our own office inside the new office. So it's really interesting place to visit. It's quite beautiful. So we have lots of space. We moved in here 4 or 5 years ago. And as soon as we moved in, we started to hire people a lot, because we finally had space to put people in. And of course, when you grow people-wise, you also change up with the structure and everything. So there's lots of movement, lots of new places, lots of new opportunities in Mikrotik to work with. In the background, you, by the way, can see one of the biggest climbing walls in the Baltics. So if you are into that, after working hours, you can just relax by climbing the wall, or downstairs there's also other sport activities like ping pong or different ways to relax. Also, in different part of Riga, near the airport, we have our training center. It's a very interesting building. Basically, we offer our partners to use it for free, as long as they use it for advertising Mikrotik. So there's some companies that make us trainings in our training center. Just trainers arrive from all around the world and make a training here and visit Riga at the same time. So there is such possibility also. And we have one big warehouse on Moscow Street, where is basically all the parts that making our products and all the logistics happens. So this is one of the biggest parts where the actual turnover of the parts and things happen. So basically we have two buildings. WEF is like a developing part, and this is warehouse part. So we have more than 250 different products currently available, and you can purchase them. So that means that we need quite a lot of staff to keep them working with all the updates of the software and so on. Lots of testing required. And we're also working on improving each of those designs. So a few examples. First is Chateau 5G. Maybe some of you have seen it with LMT emblem on it. So surprise, it was made by Mikrotik. So we worked together with the LMT to provide this, one of the first Latvian customer grade 5G home router. Then one of the popular products is, if you walk around hotels and so on, you might see our cap or ceiling access point model, which is very popular. Then there is one of the newest additions, RB 5009. It's a like heavy duty router, up to 10G. So many administrators love this device for their office connection when they need to connect multiple devices. And the things that they like, that you don't need to be worried about delicate use, because it's really heavy duty. And then the newest thing that's happening in IT departments in networking is Internet of Things. So one of our devices are Knot, that works in works with the Bluetooth tags, and also there's LoRa devices and so on. So Internet of Things are the latest addition, and our testing department is also currently like moving people to cover this demand and these new products. So are we popular? Well, these are our customers that use Mikrotik. So you can see there is very significant names on that table. Just a few examples, like for example, SpaceX loves our rugged metal device, so that it can withstand all the weathers. And also the fact that our devices are very low powered allows to use them on batteries in extreme places like Himalayas, as you can see in that picture. So Mikrotiks, especially for us when we travel the world, it's very interesting to see in what places you can spot Mikrotik there and there. So it's very strange feeling that you can go somewhere and say, I made this, and you are like 6,000 kilometers from your home. So we have 800 distributors. So those are our partners that we ship products to. We don't sell to customers directly ourselves, even in Latvia. Resellers are in 120 countries around the world. Basically, we offer them equipment, they resell that equipment and offer additional services for their customers, like support and so on. And our company works with them primarily, and only when the customer has some specific issues, we work with the customer directly through the mail, through the support. So this way, it allows us to remain quite small and agile, because to cover all our customers, like you cannot do that with 300 plus people. The support itself will be 10,000 and so on, but that will make us a much more bigger company with more expenses and basically much less affordable than we are now. So we want to remain as agile as possible, and all the support and everything is offloaded to our distributors, but they can gain good profit for reselling our equipment. So before the pandemic, we had conferences. So we traveled around the world, more than 30 user conferences per year, more than 20,000 participants, and one of our largest, if not the largest place where we come to visit is Indonesia. We had almost 3,700 people there. Bangladesh is popular, 1,700, and Brazil, 1,600. So we also have a situation that there's lots of people that want to learn how to use our operating system, our complicated operating system. So we have lots of trainers and consultants so that they can teach other people, especially if there's a language problem, because in our office there's only like 4 or 5 languages we speak of and we can teach people. So nobody here knows, for example, Indonesian, but we train the people from Indonesia to become certified trainers, and that allows them to train their own people to get certificates in Mikrotik and so on. Also, there is consultants. Consultants can't train people, but they can offer services like configure a router for you, fix your bug in configuration, and so on. So there's training centers where one or few trainers operate. There are at least one in more than 19 countries. So in every continent, with exception of Antarctica, but we are working on that. So. Also, there is such thing as Mikrotik Academy. As we know that it's very hard to get somebody with Mikrotik knowledge when we are looking for people. Good idea was to actually ensure that the people will get education using Mikrotik. So there's many high schools and other educational institutes that require some networking classes to pass the curriculum, I don't know, or how you call it. And so why not do that networking class in Mikrotik? So each high school can apply. We teach the teachers, teacher gets a certificate, and we provide the equipment for free for the school, and the school are doing the class in Mikrotik. So they're teaching networking, but they are doing the Mikrotik way. And by the end of that course, all the students will automatically get MTCNA. So that means basic certification. So there are also, like Indonesia, there are examples where the course become part of an university study program, like country-wise, not only in the individual's class in a university, individual university, but the whole country dictates that if you want to do networking, you do it in Mikrotik. So there is even Mikrotik Olympics for children in Indonesia. So every year they will have prizes, and including Mikrotik equipment. So even Olympics in Mikrotik in Indonesia. So also we try to move into very many different interesting projects that we find, that our bosses and we find interesting. So one of those where we feel we can do a big impact was genomics data network. So LMT and Mikrotik, we joined forces to make a high capacity science network in Latvia for genomics research. So this is directly directly involved with the latest pandemics and also with the cancer treatment. So we have a one of our bosses have a very heavy impact on his life from cancer, and he wants to do everything else so that nobody else have such impact and so on. And one of the things that we saw that we can help is to improve networking speeds, at what data from genomic sequencing machines are transferred to the researchers for analyzation and so on. So we basically made a 100 gigabit interconnection between all those science places here in Riga, and it's already working and providing data, and it's helped. We hope that it will help save lives as fast as possible, and so on. So we are helping wherever we can with this part. Now during the pandemic, we had to adjust, so no more conferences because whole world was closed. So we did only logical thing. We moved into the YouTube, and we have dedicated set of people that are now working as a YouTube stars. Some of them more technical, some of them less technical. So there's also, you might see a possibility that we are looking people, especially for this department, to become a YouTube star. So if you take a look at our YouTube channel, you will see that we are quite evenly distributed between boys and girls. And the most popular from the comment section is, of course, girls. So there's opportunity here also. So we have over 10 million views, 830,000 hours of viewing. I'm here now from our own studio that we build in Brīvības. And we also like to advertise Latvia as if people want to visit Latvia, they probably can somehow maybe attend Mikrotik training also, if they find out about Latvia from Mikrotik. So that's also one of the other things. So one can say we are quite patriotic in that regard. So when you join Mikrotik, as I told you already in the beginning, we don't expect you to be an expert, because you can't be really a Mikrotik expert, because that knowledge is quite limited, and you can obtain it only while working in Mikrotik, because it's very specific. There is some parts you can utilize, but usually those companies that are similar to us are not here from Latvia, but almost everyone that works in Mikrotik are from Latvia. So basically you join Mikrotik and you slowly and steady, with hard work, you become a world-class expert. So how does it really look from testing department view? So I will now jump into a little bit specific things. So in the testing department, we have the lowest ceiling to getting in. Basically, if you take a look at our advertisement, we just need so a university education first degree, logical thinking, and some experience and understanding in networking. So if you apply to our position, we will send you a homework, which then we examine and ask you, or don't ask you, to come and talk with us in the interview, during which we also have a practical tasks to check out if your homework was made by yourself, or was that, for example, we already got this, somebody arrived us with the homework that was made in a ChatGPT, which was interesting. So we are basically on bleeding edge here, using all the latest technologies. So when you join testing department, without any knowledge. We at first give you the task to test the already finished equipment that's about to ship to the customers. The equipment that's already perfectly made and should work without any issues. We're just double checking if factory mass produced everything to our specifications. So basically, people are just plugging in wires for many routers from one testing equipment to another testing equipment and collecting results and reporting if there is bugs to either to developers or to the electronic engineers. Usually there's not a big amount of bugs with this part of equipment, but there's lots of free time to start to understand what the hell are you doing. Because at some point there will be some equipment that you don't have scripts for, and you need to adjust them so that your tests can work, because all the equipment are quite unique. So, and there we start to see separation. We start to see the people that naturally drive into this developing. So they are starting programming and adjusting scripts, create some automatization scripts, doing Python programming to make sure that they can do testing quicker. There's some people that dive into some specifics of, for example, wired connections. They like to like that part and so on. So we end up with this pool of young talent that each shows up their pluses. And after a while, when the need arises, we take from these junior testing engineers and assign them to specific testing groups that work with the so quite new, not mature equipment. So basically, it's just a electronic board that was just cooked. A developer made some support. 90% of things doesn't work on that board, and as a testing engineer, you need to make sure that everything starts to work for your specific group. So lots of debugging, lots of finding different ways how to repeat the issues and so on. So basically you are the person that holds that board in the hand from infancy to the moment that it's ready to ship to the customers. So, and when it ships to the customers, who is the main expert that can answer questions of the customers how to use that board properly? So the tester that's helped developing that board. So at that point, there's many possibilities. One possibility is that this testing engineer moves full time to the software support and customer support and replies all the answers of the customers about this equipment. Other possibility, it will remain in testing and he gets the whole feedback of the customers to make sure that next revision of this product that he made is better than the previous one. And maybe even we need to add some other products similar to that product that we released to that portfolio. And at this point, it turns out that this person becomes the responsible for whole group of products and main expert in that, and we need to assign additional people to that expert. And he now is a group lead, and he already have several testing guys working under him, and he's driving to the conferences, explaining what this equipment can do, and so on. So one of those groups, latest groups, was, as I mentioned before, was LTE. So it just blew up in the last few years during pandemic. We had to create a new department. And then now we have exactly this picture. But as you can see that from the moment you are just plugging wires to the moment you are main expert in a whole product class of the one of the manufacturers, biggest manufacturers of networking equipment, it's possible. Okay, that span might take 10 years or maybe more, or maybe less, depends on situation, but the possibility is there. So that's why we are like putting this slide here. So join Mikrotik and become world-class expert, because you really will be, and you will be quite unique. So in order for you to function like on that level and to get lots of knowledge, you need to eliminate all the other problems that might occupy your mind. So how you can do that? You basically have high wages. You have a free lunch, snacks and drinks here in the office, so you don't need to think where to go, what to eat, and so on. You have a free parking, so you don't need to worry about that you arrive to the work and there's no place to put car. If you want to do cycling to work, it's also possible. We have showers here. And also we're working in open office environment. So everyone is one big room. That means that all the ideas, all the information are flowing all the time around, and you can hear many things and always be up to date with everything. Of course, there's a minus when somebody starts testing 20 server grade switches at the same time. The noise levels are high, but you can always use headphones to eliminate that. That's a small price to pay. And also we offer health insurance so that all our employees are healthy. So basically we are trying to do everything so that you can perform on maximum level most of the time. In testing department, there's also quite versatile working hours. After you done your initial 3-month period, you can start work from any time from 7 to 11 and then work till 3 or till 7 evening. So you can make your own schedule, just you need to collect the hours that you have in your work agreement during the week. So professions and engineering fields represented at the company. So as I told you, C++ coding, software and hardware testing. So I am head of the hardware department, so I forgot to mention that, sorry. We had to separate software and hardware in 2 departments a few years ago. So I'm head of hardware testing. There's also software testing that does with all the advanced features and so on. We have wireless systems, 5G LTE product designs, and IoT. And for this junior network hardware testing, so we made videos in Latvian, so you can go to our YouTube page and find this one, and there's detailed information about that testing vacancy. So just a quick shot of our what are we looking for right now, and as you can see, there is lots of entries here. So one of the first, usually those ones on the top are most important ones. So IoT C++ developer is what we need. If we can't get the experienced one, we will take the junior one, as you can see, number 3. Also, there is a factory system C++ developer. And then it's my position over there that I'm looking people to. It's like junior hardware testing. So and this entry is active already for I would say 13 months, and it's not like we are not getting people. We are getting new people almost every month or every second month. But the fact is that just after the pandemic, if you haven't realized, there is a component shortage, big problems with shipping and getting components. So in order to manufacture some kind of hardware, you need to be prepared to use many alternatives for same spot. So before pandemic, there was only one part. You got that part from the manufacturer in China, for example, and you use that part everywhere. And you test it once, and you don't have to worry about the quality because it comes from the same source and everything. Now, when there's shortage, you need to use like 4 or 5 different parts on that same spot on the board. And of course, if you use different parts, you need to test all the combination of those parts. So the actual work of the hardware testing department has quadrupled during this period because of these electronic part shortages that we experience. It looks like it starts to ease out, but it's too early to say. It's still very problematic. This is main reason also why you can't get your equipment that you looked for, or buy your car, for example, and get it straight away. So we have lots of queues, lots of people waiting for our equipment, and we are trying to manufacture it as fast as possible. And there's lots of different equipment that can't be manufactured. So one of the populars, actually one of the biggest electronic part usages currently is electric cars that ate up a lot of electronic parts. So people don't realize that basically it almost killed the industry, the electronic industry, because all the car manufacturers started to basically make a big computers instead of cars, and took all the parts for themselves. So you can read all the other options here. So we have quite large HR department, and thanks to them, we are actually here currently speaking, because we are basically advertising in here. So that is the presentation part and if you have any questions or you want to try out on any of those in this list, or maybe since I screenshotted this, something has changed, just go to the link and see yourself what has changed. And if you want to try out, just write to this email and our HR girls and boys will reply you as soon as possible. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Janis. It's wonderful. I think very thorough presentation. We already had a question in the beginning, I think in YouTube, which was, do you hire, maybe you could answer whether you have hired quality assurance specialists. I think the question was like that.
Yes, I think we recently had the department expanded, actually. I'm not sure that if we have vacancy open currently, but in last 6 months, we definitely had new additions to quality assurance part, because yeah, quality assurance is a very big part I'm interested in as a hardware testing department lead, because as better quality assurance means I have less work afterwards as a hardware testing department. So yeah.
Nice. And in junior roles, and do you ever open junior roles in this?
Thing is, if the main role is opened for longer period of time, we will always look at the junior positions, even if it's not indicated as separate ones.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always better to write and double check. Even we do even that part. If you write to us, we will register your email, we will save it. And as soon as we, for example, decide that instead of one senior one, we will take 2 junior ones, we already will have your data and we will contact you. So even if it's not listed, but it's something similar listed, you should not hesitate and write to us, and HR department will give you an answer. It will register you, and maybe you might hear from us after 3 or 4 months as a surprise. So
yeah,
that's the usual possibility, because yeah, we never know what position will open up in the future.
Exactly. Fair enough. Thanks. In case there are any questions from you participants, let me know. You can post them in the chat. both in YouTube, Facebook, or right in here. Meanwhile, I had a question about the open positions. Specifically, let's start with the C++ one. Oh, there's a question from Katrin. So do you offer remote positions as well?
So some of our departments work remotely. Some of our departments work partially remotely when they need to have office arrival 1 or 2 days per week. And hardware testing department, as you can imagine, as we're working with the secret hardware, is full-time here in the office. So we have all the opportunities. But anyway, for the first period, like 3 months, when you check your capabilities and everything, most of that happens in the office. And then afterwards, if you prove yourself, then we can talk about remote work possibilities.
Okay, thanks. There's another question from Christiana, a very specific one, actually. Have you thought about creating boot camps to attract new junior employees?
So we have thought about it. Currently, like it's not currently there is not like influx of people that coming to, is still at some level. Problem is that creating bootcamp, that means you lose some of our professionals time that we can use for the manufacturing, for the testing, and for the developing, and we need some dedicated things. So, but yeah, we have looked into that possibility. We wanted to offload that to that Mikrotik Academy that I talked about. When we offer universities a capability, so give them equipment and so on, so they can already prepare people as students and so on. So, but if there is other organizations that are willing to prepare Mikrotik specific specialists, we have a sales marketing department that are open for suggestions, because you don't have to be like university to apply to this academy thing. You can also be like this organization right here. So you probably need to talk with Liva about that possibility. Maybe we can think of something out.
Okay, nice, thanks. I had a question prior to this. So for example, let's take this junior C++ roles. What is something that could help potential candidates, that you can say, what are you looking for when you're going through the CVs and the applications? What are the things that maybe the applicants should pay more attention to when they're applying?
So first of all, I just want to emphasize that I'm not a developer myself. Yeah. So what I have heard from my developer colleagues, that you need to convince people that you are up to date with all the coding stuff, language features that are coming out. You also need to show up that you have a project that you have put significant time into, and that's working. So you need to have a basically portfolio that you can show up. And if that portfolio is on the necessary level, you get a junior position, and if it's on par with the senior level, maybe you think you are junior, but and your work shows that you are more than capable than a junior, then you can maybe even get to the higher position. So, but basically, we don't look at the beautiful pictures and the beautiful CVs. We want to see your actual work, and you are actually doing something. That's common in every department here in Mikrotik. So if you have come to the hardware testing and want to show us that you have some networking skills, we will not only task you to do a homework, we'll also task you to do that networking, show that networking skills here in the office. Also logical thinking, like you can't imagine how, for me, like it was surprise, but like I will give you some simple tasks. So software testing, you know that in version 1, the feature worked. You know that in version 101, feature doesn't work. You need to find in what particular version feature broke as fast as possible. Each test, let's takes 1 hour. How will you do that? Half of the participants that comes to the interviews will just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which means that they can end up 99 if something broke in 99. So that part of logical thinking so the right answer is you start searching in halves. So you start in the middle. If that works, that means that problem is somewhere in second part. Then you chop it in the middle and so on. So that's a common thing that it must be present, for example, for testing, and I think also for developers also. And unfortunately, my experience in interviews, I have conducted more than 50 in last 3-4 years, show that it's not the case in 100%. So basically, we won't just show you that you are, show us that you are still logically thinking, active, and this maybe is the one option that indirectly indicates if you are student and still active, that your brain is currently in active state, you are absorbing and so on. So if you are like participating in courses like this one, Riga Tech Girls, or you are going in university as a student, we still know that you are on this active phase, and theoretically you will get easier time absorbing all the Mikrotik specific new information better. But that's not 100% of case. We had people that arrive here in 40s that are much more capable than average students. So I'm just saying that's how we look at that indirectly. So basically, we look at what we have, not what the papers indicate.
And for example, in testing, I know you talked about what's the process after. So you kind of decide on the next stage. But in an application, is there something that you notice more or pay attention to more?
So in the testing currently, yeah, it's first of all, if there is a networking knowledge and if there is IT knowledge. So if you can indicate that you are IT geek, for example, so you know all the AMD, NVIDIA, all the chipsets and everything and so on, I'm pretty sure that you are up to date with the electronic parts and you are capable of learning new electronic things because you do that in background on yourself just because you like it. So that's one of the indications that get me interesting in the person. If they see, of course, some people try to fake it out, which is not a good idea in Mikrotik, because we ourselves have to be all the IT geeks and we have to be up to date with all the chipsets just because it's a part of our profession, because most of that hardware is used with our software and so on.
Thanks. There's a question from Elena. So is higher education in IT mandatory? I think it's also about your applications. This condition could be hard to meet for those changing careers from another industry.
Higher education in IT, no. Higher education as such, where you prove that you achieved some goal that you put yourself to, as a will help definitely. We'll look. So that's one of the things that we look in. So if you were capable to achieve a goal when you were a student to finish something up, it already indicates much about your character, and it doesn't really matter that it's IT or not IT. We have one of our latest participants was from actually cinematography course in visual arts, came here and showed us really good performance. So we are not so strict, but if you have higher education and if you have networking skills, I don't know from where, but you have them, it doesn't matter for us. That combination will do.
Thanks. I'm actually thinking that in some experience, I think cinematography could be fairly connected, especially thinking about those who are, I think not sure about if that's the right translation, but the operators or the cameramen. I think there is some kind of similarity to the interest of the same field, of how things work and how they're structured. Okay, are there any more questions from participants that we still need to answer? You can see a bit if there were any more that I missed. Oh, yeah, there's another one that is, how do you feel about people who switch specialties in life? Do you, so do you in any way look or more positively or negatively or just neutral of people who have switched to, for example, there's an example of nurse and moved to test and ended up in testing?
No, we are plainly interested in the knowledge that you have, the set of knowledge that you have, and the fact that you have logical thinking and so on. So the history, it actually might be some cases very useful if it's from outside, because, for example, one of my testing department guys are construction guy who switched to IT.
All right.
And suddenly we had a universal feedback about mounting things and how to put things on antennas and on the walls better than we do right now, because he spent his whole life in construction and he knows better how that part works, because we ourselves as equipment guys really don't, the networking guys didn't know that. Mm-hmm. So it's just maybe opportunity to provide some additional information, so on. So basically, our interest is only how prepared are you for things that we need. How that preparedness came, it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
That's why also I'm here, because we don't judge boys and girls here. So in each our department we have girls. 9% of my department are girls. So basically, it doesn't really matter in here. That only set of knowledge and way of thinking is the main things that we consider. And in worst case scenario, you will spend three months here to check out if you like it or you can keep up, and we will double check if your performance is on par what we expect from interview. So there's also lots of people that realize that this is too intensive, because one would think that network IT administrators are very related to Mikrotik, but administrators are really like calm work. Basically, you make a network and then you just monitor. In Mikrotik, you do the same administrators, but only 10,000 administrators write you only with problems that they have. So the complexity and intensity of the work is completely different. So usually when people come, those who leave just can't handle the intensity. Mm-hmm. But for example, there are some people like me, like I'm 18 years in the same working place, doing different things. But I can say that the main thing about work is that it's not boring. Mm-hmm. There's different levels of things you can do. So there's different levels of how busy you are. Sometimes you are just partially busy, and then you have to find something to do like half of the time. Then you are exactly as busy as you can be. So you do everything, you finish everything, which is would be perfect. Third level is when you have a little bit more than you can actually do, which is frustrating. And in Mikrotik, there's a 4-way. There's so much work that you can choose which part you will make, because you can't possibly do everything.
I know what that's like. But yeah, that is most likely all non-governmental organizations' daily life. But it does sound interesting. I think the key thing is having a challenge always. And that is something that if you find interesting and you do find the challenges that IT poses and these fields pose, then I think it's definitely a profession for those who are here. If there are no more questions, maybe some last moments. that I'm gonna give. Okay, so then I'm gonna say a massive thank you to Giannis. Maybe there's any last words from your side that you want to mention that I didn't give time for you?
No, basically, thank you for opportunity. I hope our HR department will receive a good set of emails after this session. And we will fill up some of the positions, and that list will get smaller, which is basically the main task why I'm here.
Yes, exactly. And in a couple of months, meet you as part of the team and be a part of that. So yeah, it goes from my side as well. Please use this opportunity. I think the key thing to take from here is to not also be afraid and try to apply. Obviously, take the things that we mentioned today in the session, and hopefully this kind of helped you understand which are the things that you should pay attention to when applying, but take up the courage and do so. And I think, yeah, the key thing is not to feel afraid, and I think consistently that you're not right. I think risking is important in these scenarios. Yeah. Again, I wanted to thank you, Giannis. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a part of this session today. And we're actually very happy that we could have someone from your side and someone from Mikrotik in here and sharing your experiences. I really do hope that there's going to be a bigger flow of applications starting from this point, and I really hope that a lot of these will come from the women who are hearing this session. So thank you to you, and thank you for the participants. In case you have any questions, let us know as well, and in case there are any questions to the HR, I think we can kind of help sort things out or communicate, because we all have the same goal in here, everyone who's in this call, I think. All right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a nice, relaxing evening today.